What if I told you the way it has always been done is not the best way? Facing your fears will change your life. The passion behind this journey is merging two separate worlds into one with the goal of creating value and awareness for a better life.
I'd rather be sidelined trying to achieve greatness than watch greatness achieved and it only set on the sideline. Now introducing your host, Jacob Emery.
This episode is brought to you by R&R Pipeline, an infrastructure company. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Iron and Infrastructure Podcast. We have a full-blown banger today. And of course, because of that, it's Flex Friday, first of all. G, your workouts whipped my ass this week. Not gonna lie, them drop sets about put me under.
Yeah, Pump 30 was tough.
Dude, I'm gonna let you sponsor or announce the sponsor of the show today. Look at this pretty box here. What is this thing, G?
Yeah, the Iron and Infrastructure Podcast is brought to you by Max Effort Muscle Bar, the first protein bar with 5 grams of creatine that tastes amazing and will blow your mind. We have birthday cake, peanut butter blast, and s'mores. You can get them at maxeffortmuscle.com.
I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, I got to go even one more step because when you think of protein bars, you don't think of quality taste.
Yeah.
And G, I'm not going to lie. When you gave me one, I was like, yeah, I'll eat it. And you, like 2 days later, you're like, hey, did you try that bar yet? And I hadn't.
Yeah, and I was like, what the fuck?
I know. And I was like, shit, I forgot all about it. And then I tried it, and I was like, dude, I have never tasted a protein bar, especially with that much creatine in it. It's so good.
Well,
it's
any
incredible.
creatine in them, right? I mean, like we've never had bars that even had that in it. So,
dude,
yeah, it's honestly, it's exceeded expectations, and I've been doing this for a really long time. This is my 3rd protein bar, well, actually 4th protein bar I've been a part of, and yeah, it's really exciting time for Max Effort Muscle.
It
and like a lot
exciting.
of people, you know, are starting to read or see videos around not only creatine from a muscle standpoint and the saturation of the tissue, but also for the cognitive.
Functions,
and so, and women, men, even like young adults. And so, you know, a lot of people are eating and consuming protein bars. Now you have the opportunity to do that. We have a lot of athletes that are absolutely in love with them. So it's a really exciting time for Max Effort, man.
It's really exciting. And it's interesting, like at 10 grams of creatine for cognitive function is like a staple now. It's like the data shows it. It's pretty wild. I've done a lot of homework on it myself.
Very wild. So you can eat you 2 a day, player.
It's just, put a box in front of me. That box might be gone. I might eat the week's worth of creatine in one setting.
I think I'm like really proud of how good they are, how they taste. The feedback we've got has been amazing. They're selling extremely well. The demand's been very good. And so, yeah, I feel super blessed to have that opportunity for sure.
It's next level. It really is. Speaking of next level, G, let's hit them with the next level. Let's talk about the first quarter of this year, man. It went fast.
Blink.
Really, really fast. Feels like Christmas, and then you blink your eyes and we're in April when it's raining like crazy. We should be at the island right now, but unfortunately we live in Ohio, so Muscle Island's a little wet today. Give me a recap of your Q1. What's been going on with Cory Gregory?
Q1 was really exciting because a lot of the things I was working on actually this time last year, which, you know, everything that you work on, you want to have happen faster, be better, and, you know, not be as difficult. That's everyone's aspirations, but that's not true, right? So a lot of things that I was like, I guess, coming up with last year or developing. I mean, this time last year, Jake, let's see, we're in April. The 1st of May is when I was building the makeshift wall to try to keep the water off the island because it was flooded so bad. And I was running 4 sump pumps 24 hours a day with a makeshift coal miner wall to get the water off the island so I could get it dry enough to put the helical piers in for the foundation of the house, for the shipping container house. And so if I think back, that feels like a way longer than it actually was. Not to mention at the same time, I was developing the Mafia subscription model where, you know, people get supplements each month and then come to in-person events, and hopefully we can inspire people even better, like in person. And so all of those things were kind of happening. And now they're actually, you know, true 3D in real life, and people that are, you know, in the Mafia subscription are coming to Muscle Island, which is really cool. So Q1, not to mention I'll call it the Nerf hoop alley oop of the muscle bar. Wasn't looking for a protein bar. I do believe that, you know, out of all the things I've studied all these years, Think and Grow Rich, all this stuff, that, you know, there was a lot of kind of hardship in the development of some of that stuff, and that this was one of those blessings I didn't see coming. but I was pretty locked. So when I saw the opportunity, I moved on it very fast. We'll call it with a violent, aggressive action, and it's been received extremely well. So yeah, Q1 is super exciting because for probably about 24 months, it's been a little bit tough.
Yeah.
And when I say a little bit tough, like that's probably like some people might cry themselves asleep.
95% of people probably stroke out before lunch. Yeah.
So, but anyway, I'm really proud of how we went through those adverse things, and where we're at now is we have an exciting community that we're building and inspiring, and then have some exciting SKUs and just a lot of stuff in the pipeline to look forward to. And I think that pursuit of looking forward to those things is key.
Well, dude, that network of people, like it's the same at the gym, the 4 a.m. crew. We've all elevated and had similar struggles, but the discipline and all that went next level before the struggle came.
Agreed.
And it's like dialing that discipline in because you just need to, but you don't know why yet. And then when adversity hits, you're already battle tested.
Yeah, I think it just definitely helps you like persevere a little bit better, right? With a more level head. And, I was watching some stuff like of some of these like kung fu, like monk type of dudes. And a lot of the stuff that they're talking about is very similar to the way that we operate. And our martial arts just happen to be lifting weights. And the development just happens to be like some of like, we'll say like the meditation practices. And then the consistency and kind of being in tune with what's happening out here. A lot of it's very similar.
Yeah, it really
so
is.
I've seen a lot of similarities on how I've been doing things for like 10 or 15 years. And so, yeah, it's encouraging to think like, just keep it rolling and, see what's next.
It's been a hard 2 years, 23 and 24, dude, just absolute kick ass hard.
It has.
But the one thing that stayed the same and actually evolved to that next level was that martial arts, that practice every day.
For sure.
There was never a consideration not going to the gym because it was hard.
No.
If anything, we actually dialed it in more because of that hard.
No, you need that because of you're going to have to rely on those things because things are so difficult. And I think it's the opposite, right? When some people go through a lot of struggles, they want to go to the vices more. And the reality is you should do less drinking and smoking weed and more development and more discipline so you can get your brain on the right frequency to be able to handle the adversity. And then on top of that, see the actual blessings that are there to take advantage of them to be able to build the next level. And so that's kind of the way I was trying to like lean in on all this stuff, as it was difficult.
Well, we all know that it's going to be hard. Life is hard no matter what. Choose your hard. Don't make the easy things hard. Just let the hard things be hard. And so you think about like, we're responsible for our families, but then other
families too,
rely on us. R&R, we have 85 to 100 people at any given time that support their family. That's a lot of people
for sure
supporting their family. One bad decision that we make could jeopardize that.
Yep.
Let alone my family, but everyone else's too. It's a lot of pressure to carry. But the biggest thing that I've realized the last probably 2 years, you just got to keep it good.
Yeah.
Whether it's high or it's low, don't get too high, don't get too low. Keep it in the middle. Never let loose on your discipline, and things will turn out how you want them to.
I would agree with that. I think it's like just holding the line, never too high, never too low, but holding that baseline. That's an elevated baseline, obviously, of like your expectation and being able to kind of get through those good and bad times, knowing that you have those type of pressures. What I try to remind myself that is, sometimes I get caught up in a certain number or a certain situation, probably because of the way I was raised.
Yeah.
And I have to remind myself that I'm fully prepared for those situations. I have the necessary assets and things set up to handle those situations, and that I have to remind myself that I'm built for this. I'm that person, and that's just what it is. And so I think that it's easy for self-doubt to creep in from the past.
Oh, definitely.
But then to remind yourself, like, no, I'm here for a reason. And this isn't on luck. This is on purpose. This is intentional. I worked for this, and I need to rest on that I'm this person. And so I think that people think that maybe doesn't go away. It probably lessens over time, but you still have to, kind of kick yourself sometimes and go, yo, why are you thinking this way?
Right.
This ain't it.
We cannot get rid of the environment that created who we are today, whether good or bad. Everybody has a story about what triggered them to become the person they are as an adult, and it was all stemmed from their youth. But recognizing it and being in control of that, and like you said, you shut out the trash that your head's giving you, and remember who you really are now because of that situation. And so like, it's just that subtle pause and reminder to yourself, kind of like the martial arts, take a 10-second break every once in a while and then get your head right.
I just say shit to myself like, nah, I'm that guy. I built that guy.
And you got a resume of undeniable proof that says so.
Just what
like,
it
it's
is,
not even,
bro. And so I think like somebody asked me, I was kind of talking to one of these marketing guys I work with, and he said, I was telling him, man, I just feels like people have more excuses now and like this and that, and now they're confused on this, but it never used to be in the past, and the expectation of certain things. And he stopped, he goes, Cory, how many people do you know just like you? And I said, my answer was this, Google the percentage of people that took an idea to 100 million. Now I don't have 100 million because we kind of fucked it up at the end, but the reality is I'm still part of it. And so it's such a small percentage that the expectation and the craziness that I went through in that period of time in my life to get that to that point, it put me in like a different category that I don't really speak out loud very often, but I just know, but it's a reality. And so that's like that was my answer. And he started laughing and he goes, exactly. He's like, so if you're going to be the leader, you have to make sure like the steps that can allow people to get to whatever spot they're trying to get to. And so it was just a good understanding that like, I understand, like I have a crazy expectation for myself, psycho level probably, as do you. That's why we're friends. But that if I'm going to help a lot of people, I got to do a better job of like getting them to the next spot so they can get a chance to get. So anyway, that was a good realization for me.
No, that's really good because
I don't think I'm better. I just know I'm half crazy. Like
I'm not, I never say I'm better or, this or that. I'm just different.
Yeah.
And I have a stack of assessments to say that I'm a fucking psychopath and it's undeniable.
For sure.
I'm just different. That Driven one, IamDriven.com, Doug Brockman, I think you read that book. I think I gave it to Sea Lover. I don't know if you read it or not, but he has an assessment and it shows the average, functioning people in the world and what their traits are within 10 different, they have 10 different traits that showcase, the average. And there's a circle and there's like 3.5 to 4 is the average all the way around it. My lowest was like an 8. And it's all about driven, visionary entrepreneurship, but most of them were 10s. And I seen it as like this big red circle outside and this little one inside's the average. And I'm all the way out here on the red.
I think I have, I'm out of touch because I've insulated myself on purpose.
Same.
You know what I mean? So the people that I'm around, you hear all the people, 5 people you spend the most time with. A lot of that shit is true.
It is true.
And so I think I've on purpose or on accident, however you look at it, I've isolated myself to a certain point. And then the people I'm even teaching want to learn the information. And so I'm out of touch with what maybe like normal expectations are. But I've never wanted, I told this to my wife or anybody that will listen. I never signed up for normal. No. I don't aspire for that. I don't want that. And I don't really think about anyone else's situation. Like that's the thing. Like people think automatically because I expect one thing that I think you're not good because you don't expect that. I'm not thinking about that. I'm only thinking about what I'm expecting out of myself. So then I can inspire the people that also want to like have something different. And so I think that automatically it makes people put off or insecure or feel a certain way about me. I don't process it that way.
You don't give a shit.
Because I've been a trainer. So I've been in helping mode my whole life. Like, because I have abs, I don't think that guy sucks because you don't have abs. But if he asks me how to get them, I'm going to teach him.
Right. And if he doesn't you're going to call him out for it.
Or I'm just not even going to address it because he's not asking for the help. So
if he asks for the help and doesn't do it.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. There you go. So it's like, I think people automatically think that you're casting a stone when really I'm casting the stones at myself because I'm trying to expect more. And so I think that that's something that's probably misunderstood about me that I try to do my best to like say without saying it when people, I can feel it on them. I'm like, so I'll automatically kind of dodge the conversation or like take it a different direction. That's not aggressive towards them because it's really not, that just happens a lot to people that are super disciplined, I think.
Yeah.
So I
get that. I mean, it just happened this week. I get it too, where like big, strong jack guy, right off the rip, it's I don't even get my name out, and that's the narrative, right? It's talked about in awkward conversations.
You can't get away with it, bro. You're too big.
I try.
I look small and close.
I tried covering up so many times, and it never works. But that becomes a narrative. But to me, when it's talked about, it's why are you addressing this thing at a, it's like, it's not a bash on it. It's now more a respect thing, but then it directly follows with, I don't do that because of X excuse or Y excuse. So it's like, put me up in this different category and then down on yourself. And it's,
it always makes me feel weird.
Yeah. It's just like awkward. Like, dude, we're talking business. We can talk about personal shit after. Let's get to business. Yeah. Right. And I get it. I get the like friendliness of it, but it's very weird. It's an awkward, very awkward thing. So I've had this realization lately that kind of to what you were saying, I'm not a perfectionist by any stretch of the imagination, but I think there can be a fine line between perfection and extraordinary high expectations.
Yeah.
So I've started to figure out that my expectation of myself is so high that it comes off as a perfection thing sometimes. But perfectionism and procrastination are twins. They're tied together to me. Like if you're a perfectionist, so perfectionism, a lot of people were, I'm a perfectionist, it's got to be perfect, but it is pushed off with procrastination because perfect is an ideal, not really something that exists. It's something that you think in your head that can exist, but normally it's more of like you can't describe it a lot of time.
Yeah. So I've never been even close to a perfectionist. Right. So, and I think because I wasn't that good of an athlete, that helped that, to be honest with you. So it's like, I knew that there was people that were so much better than me, but I knew I was working harder than them. And so that was like one of those things where I was like, okay, that's like kind of like the reality of maybe of a lot of my situations potentially. So I think that really helped me realize like, I think I can win if I because I'll start things before others because they are perfectionists.
Yeah.
And so
they need a plan.
The problem is I'll lose some crumbs and not dot some I's along the way. And I've had to go back and some that's costly for me. But if I look at the net positive, because I operated that way, I can't deny my speed of execution and movement has progressed my life for sure. And so I've never really been on the perfect tip, honestly, because I just knew it never fucking.
I've never been that good. To say that I'm going to do anything perfect is laughable.
It was laughable.
I'm not that damn good still this day.
Me too.
But it doesn't mean that we don't have high expectations.
Yeah, for sure.
So here's an interesting thought for you. Did it change for you when you were building your brand, when you put your brand out there as Cory Gregory?
I mean, I think that I had to be okay with what was going out. Like it has to be like the perfection part. If there's any piece of it, it'd be more about making sure it's authentic.
Yeah.
So it just has to be me.
That's where.
So now that being me doesn't have to be perfect.
No.
But I just need to make sure whatever I'm displaying is like just a true.
It meets your expectations.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's where I'm at with it. I realized, with the podcast, with starting some of these other things that were more isolated to me, my expectations rose even more.
Sure.
Because it's not a collective sum. It's my name, face, and everything on that. And it wasn't that I didn't care the same amount before. It was just different. And whenever it was custom to me and it became a little bit different. And now with my coaching program, I know building the landing page and going through all that, like the language, how it's perceived, everything was.
I don't think that's even a perfection thing. I think that's just like, you know how you want to be viewed or how you want to bring people into the system. I think that there's part of it is just doing things well. I think to your point, a lot of people use perfection as procrastination.
It's an excuse.
And they're probably better than me, but I'm going to beat them every time because they're just fucking slow.
The cost of inaction is massive.
Massive, bro. Oh yeah. I've learned that forever ago. Like I watched so many people that were better trainers or more jacked or probably way smarter. And I just fucking work them.
Yeah, because there is no time to start the perfect plan. The time to start is now. There is no perfect time down the road.
Dude,
I'm going to do this or that.
I started the biggest business of my life when my wife was pregnant with my second kid, just quit her job. And I didn't really have any assets. I mean, it made no sense on paper.
Yeah.
So I realized, I realized at that point, there is no perfect time. It's, so why am I even evaluating it in that way? When I did the island project, I could have argued that, business is not killing it. I'm changing a bunch of things. But I couldn't deny that when I stood on the island, the whisper, the fucking universe, whatever you call it, said
The time is now.
correct. And
Grab the shovel.
I listened to my intuition and got the fucking weed eater.
Until we got a track go out there.
Yeah, exactly.
You think about wealth and, you mentioned mindset. If you're not rich now in your mind, you're never going to become rich.
Yeah.
Living a fulfilled life, a rich life as far as fulfillment, joy, how you process stuff is one of the main drivers of wealth.
No question.
I was absolutely dead broke whenever buying R&R Pipeline. And a few months before making a multi-million-dollar transaction at $37,000 to my name.
Amazing.
And that was if I sold my house.
Yeah, that was your equity on
that.
That
Was bad. I think about like consumer debt I had then and just things I had to do just to get fees paid for to apply for this business loan. Like,
it's crazy.
Thinking about that now, it's wild to think like how naive I
Real
was.
wild, bro.
I was so naive.
But you don't know until you actually go down that
right
and understand the wealth pillars and how finances work. I mean, it takes a while to figure all that shit out.
And as you evolve in business, you realize, or at least I have, I'm not nearly as good as I thought I was, and I'm not nearly as bad as I think I am.
Both.
Like at the same exact time, it's the truth. There's a learning curve that you have where you just figure out the high, the low. You're not either one of them. You figure out the middle ground. And I think that's when you start really maturing in business as a person, where you just understand the seasonality of it. You're more aware of what's reality, the market trends, just all the different
Every
shit.
cycle when the money seems very difficult or easy, and they go in both cycles, understanding what you do in both of those places. And now I've been through them a couple times. I'm waiting for the easy one again.
Yeah, me too.
And I know what to do with it when it comes.
Well, and that's the thing, like the hard is still hard. Like just because you understand what it's going to be like. And when you're in that moment, dude, it still sucks.
Yeah.
There isn't no like easier way because you know it's coming.
No.
And that's where it's like, oh shit.
Well, the hardest thing is when you're in that time period of when things are really difficult, you feel like you're working 3 times as hard for a single dollar. And it's like, or losing. Yeah. And then you have to go forward and invest more money with a new idea and then hope that you have leaned into the right thing, which is what I just went through. Very difficult.
It's so tough, dude. So tough. And back to that discipline, the standard that you live by, you have a standard. I have a standard. So I started a while ago putting this together about what is my standard? Unlocking Greatness is my coaching business now. And what is the standards of greatness for Jacob Emery? I started thinking through it. There's 5 things that are non-negotiable for me, and I do them daily, and I have for years. And I just started really putting it in my calendar as a reminder. It's something that it's almost unconscious now, but I still have it as a standard.
What are they?
No snooze is number 1.
Yeah.
No fucking snooze. You don't hit the
facts.
snooze, because at the end of the day, even if you don't set your alarm clock on the weekend, but just the mentality of I am not hitting the snooze and sleeping in.
Yeah.
It's if you do it once, it's a mistake. If you do it twice, you're starting another habit, and it's the wrong one to start. And I cannot hit the snooze button. Like I just don't allow it. So that's number 1. The second one is physical output. Physical output of a minimum 10 minutes a day.
Yeah.
Because there are days where recovery and everything's there, but 10 minutes of intentional movement a day, non-negotiable. So physical output. The third is mental input. 10 minutes a day, the same. Even if you chip it 10 minutes a day, I mean, I'm like hours.
You read 2 pages.
Right.
I mean,
But it's never missing, and you're always continuing to push forward. That momentum never stops. I think doing it all good 5 days a week and taking weekends off, I think it's the absolute detriment to progress for a lot of people, because they have to reset over the weekend.
Yeah.
By the time Monday hits, they're already behind again. And so it's like they lost some of that momentum from last week, and then that consistency every single day is crucial. The fourth one is track and attack. Tracking your progress, measuring up your progress to your goals that you have in line, and then attacking every day with intent to get better and to grow. You got to track. You cannot manage what you cannot measure.
Yeah.
So if you have something there and you're not measuring it, you're not managing your progress. So how do you know if you're getting better?
Yeah.
Reality check is sometimes you got to pivot away from what you're doing now to make sure that you're on track to reach your goals. Doing the same thing over and over, not knowing if it works.
Yeah.
I've never watched a football game. They don't keep score.
Yeah.
You got to track it. And then the fifth one is gratitude and preparation. At the end of every day, appreciate today. Life happens for me. This is an opportunity. Keeping the mindset right. And then this is laughable how simple this is, but every night for 20 minutes, maybe it takes me, I have my water jug, my food, the weather's checked for the next day. I review my schedule. My clothes are out for the gym. My bag's out for the gym. My business clothes are out for the day. I could be brain dead and essentially am brain dead till 7 a.m. I don't have to think about a thing.
Yeah.
So don't make the small, minute task a pain point. So gratitude and preparation is just about that. Fail to prepare, prepare to fail.
Yeah, I feel like I follow a lot of those same things. Yeah, a long time ago, I started, I minimum have to do conditioning on the weekends. So a lot of times I don't lift weights on the weekends, but I would say my minimum is probably 30 to 60 moving usually. The development's probably a little less than during the week, but still happening. And I had this period of time for a long time, which I need to get back to, where I would write, read, and record every day, which was a really good one. And I still do a portion of it. I don't record as often as that, but I will here again soon. But the write and read definitely helped with just the process of creating content and things. And so, yeah, I think that having standards like that you know contribute to you feeling better, getting better, and just like, you know, I don't know, getting a chance to really go build what you want. Yeah. Whether it's, you know, just overall like more fulfilling life or some type of business or a mix of both. You know, I don't know. I think that just having patterns like that you're like intentional about are really important.
And it's like the 5 stages of learning, you know, eventually it's something you do and you're not even thinking about it. It's just unconscious in your elite level and do it without thought.
Dude, my non-negotiables have been in place for so long.
Same.
That it's like,
I don't even recognize them as something to be a standard as much because it's just my lifestyle.
It's just my lifestyle. And so I think that really trips people up sometimes when they start to have conversations with me about it, but it's been so long. Yeah. And then my answer is always like, you know, when they're asking the question of why am I still doing it?
Why not?
My answer is always this: if I know what I get for it, why would I stop?
Yep.
And that's and like being able to, you know, play in the lower M league with guys 30 years younger than me and compete. Actually, I might be the leading scorer right now, like real talk.
This is so epic.
You know what I mean? And like being able to take part with my kids in a different way. Like I'm proud of those things because I've been training for today 15 years ago. You know what I mean? And so I think like, or the conversations I'm having with AG as he's starting to be an entrepreneur and he starts to realize like, I've been living inside of these principles and didn't know. Yeah. And now I understand, and dad has a lot of the answers and can have that type of dialogue. That feels real good, man.
Dude, that's gotta be so rewarding.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. That's
and
awesome.
Because I know he knows, because now he's reflecting on things that he's seen and been a part of, but it was normal for him, but it's completely abnormal for most. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. That's really cool. I remember when he first started really getting into the weights.
Oh, it changed.
The smile on your face was so incredible.
Because I knew him specifically, he needed that confidence. We all needed it. Yeah. But he definitely did, just with his personality, and it changed him. And now, right now, he's like, dude, he showed me his notes from How to Raise Your Own Salary. He's been reading each chapter and taking notes like he's at Ohio State right now, like he's in school. And he opened it and I was like, bro, you're really taking this serious. He's like, Dad, this is a manual. I'm like, I know, I've been following it.
Yeah. That's my playbook.
It's the playbook from Andrew Carnegie. Yeah. Like, and so those type of things have been really rewarding as my kids have gotten older, because you hear all these things about, you know, raising your kids and your kids do what they see.
1000%.
You can tell them whatever you want to tell them. And some kids are just going to make shitty decisions, as did we, right? Yeah. But the reality is, they're eventually probably going to lock on to what they were accustomed to seeing every day. And then once they get enlightened about why that was happening, they have to then choose, am I going to go this path that I watched dad or mom do, or am I going to choose something else because I don't want to operate that way? Well, I chose something different because I didn't want to operate the way that my parents did, right? My mom was just trying to survive and my dad was doing dumb shit. And the reality is, like, that's why I'm me. And so they get the same chance. And then, you know, I'm starting to get kind of obsessed with that second generation, making sure that they can then, because I just tell them straight up, like, you guys, I think, will be straight. If you don't like continue this on, it's the next generation that fucks it up.
That ruins it. Yeah.
And that's not what I want to happen. And so I'm already trying to be mindful of that.
Yeah.